Alrighty, welcome back everybody to the second week of our Python project development course, which is happening on every single Wednesday. Thank you guys for coming out. We reviewed, talked about the basics last week, talked about the course introductory material, talked about our Google Classroom as well. So hopefully we are all good with the foundation laid out. This week we're gonna get our feet wet, start talking about the idea of using Python to make some projects, talking about our first project as well. Some of you may already know about it from last week, we hinted at it. And sort of creating the functions, getting the vision out, and sort of setting up ourselves for success in the coming weeks. So thank you so much for coming out.
Wait, Rishi, I just have a question. Do you go to Lincoln Prairie? My sister says she might have seen you because she goes to Lincoln Prairie. So.
All right, so I'll let you know, Rishi. But guys, if you don't already know who I am, my name is Rayon Siddiqui. I'm a senior at James B. Cohen High School, like Labdi. You guys have seen what we do here, teach programming, made programming, and I love doing this type of stuff.
And guys, my name is Labdi, and by now I think introduction should be going really fast, and let's go on to the next slide.
All right, guys, so getting down to our agenda, starting off the class, just to make sure we are all on the same page. Any questions you guys have, make sure that we are all on the same page for our Google Classroom as well. And then moving on towards what this course is all about. Talking about our first project, what that entails, and then drawing out, sort of laying out what we want to create, sort of creating a vision, seeing the final product as well, what we'll be creating in the coming weeks, and start taking some notes, open up our coding website, get our hands sort of going for the coming weeks as we type more and more, and hit the ground running, essentially.
Yep, and again, as Rayan said, if you guys are not on the Google Classroom, here is the code. I will type that into the chat. It's QAF7IBJ. And if you just log on to Google Classroom through your Google account and then add this code, and you'll be in the classroom where you will get all of the materials and the recaps for project development and algorithmic programming.
We'll give everybody a minute just to make sure we are all good. I know we have some new people here today. Alrighty, so if you guys have any questions, be sure to flag me or lobby down. We can help you guys out in the future as well. But now let's get towards talking about what the first project we are going to be starting out to kick off this new program of project development. That being the project we hinted at last week called Mastermind. Now let's get a quick poll right here. Have any of you guys played Mastermind or heard of the game before?
I have never heard of the game.
You told us about it last week. That's the only time I've heard of it.
All right.
That's completely fine.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure when Labdi and I first made this, I had no idea what this game was about as well. It's a bit of an older type game. Joe might know, might have played it as well, but I did not have the actual version. I got the computer version with me. You know, if you don't have a board game, you should make it. Something you should learn from this course. But basically, guys, the idea of Mastermind is that you can probably see at the bottom that there are certain pegs of different colors which are laid out in a straight line, right? There's multiple rows and looks like in this case, 4 different columns, right? So the main goal is that the computer essentially is going to generate a random selection of colors. So it could be red, green, white, blue, and that order matters a lot. So like say, I'll write this right here. Say the computer generates the colors red, green, white, and blue. Now this is 4 pegs, aka when I'm referring to a peg, I mean like a piece on the board right there. 4 pegs in a row, right? Well, it is our turn as the user to guess a color and get the order correctly. So like say on my end, the computer's gonna ask me, make a guess, right? I'm gonna make a guess of different colors. I could say white, green, white again, and then blue. Now the computer is gonna tell me if 1, did I get any of the colors correct? And 2, did I guess the correct position of the colors as well? Now, if we were playing this in real life, we would have a red, a green, a white, and a blue peg. And my goal as like the second player would be to place my own picks on the next row. Well, in the computer format, you just got to type them out. And I see we got some questions in mind. All right. And that is going to be this idea of Mastermind, trying to guess what order and what type of colors there are. And this project is sort of going to kickstart us into not only reviewing our old topics of for loops, if else, conditional statements, working with variables, parameters, with functions as well, but also being able to create a sort of a larger scale project. We envision taking the next couple of weeks on this and making some progress. So hopefully you guys are excited about this. And before we go along, Lavia, we can show a, oh, there we go. Before we go along, I guess we can just talk about it again. A code breaking game is the main idea. Lavia, you can talk about that idea of cryptography, sort of?
Oh yeah, definitely. So to detour just a little bit into what cryptography is, it is also a CS topic that you will learn in high school. Is basically trying to encrypt something like a regular code into another code that you have to kind of solve that puzzle. So there are so many, a lot of encryptions like ciphers and different methods that if you have like watched mystery serials like Sherlock Holmes, you will know them, but that is also a topic for CS. And Mastermind, how that relates to this cryptography, well, you are talking in code basically when you say you're trying to know what those 4 characters or those 4 colors are, and through different tries you finally find out what that code is. And yeah, and finally, fun fact, the game was made in 1970, and just as Rayan said, you may not have heard of this game. Probably ask your parents, they may have. It was probably a more popular game back then. And before we do before we do move on, let's see what a working version of Mastermind looks like. And here we go.
And we all have a Mastermind tournament. All right, it's gotta be that one.
Yes, sir. Okay. Can you? Oh shoot. Joe, you be able to?
There you go. Yep.
Oh, you are. Okay. Great. Perfect. All right. Okay. So in here, instead of colors, as Rayan said, we have to guess a 4-digit number. Who has a guess? Just shout out.
1, 2,
Same
3,
one as
4.
last time.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm gonna press enter, and it says none of the numbers in your input match. So we know that 1 is not in the first digit, 2 is not the second digit, 3 is not the third digit, and 4 is not the fourth digit.
0,
5, 6,
0,
7, 8.
1.
What?
0, 0. 0, 0, 1.
Okay, 0, 0, 1. I'll just add a 1 in the end. Okay. Oh, well, let's run this again.
We got 4, 3, 1 from Haley.
Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, no numbers match.
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Dang.
Let's see, 9, 8, 7, 5, or 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, we got 9 and 6 there. Now we know 8, 7. 7 is not the third. 7, 2, or 3 are not the third digit. We can try 1, 4, 5, 6, or 8, or 9. Let's try 1. Okay, not 1. I'm gonna say 9. Let's say 4, 1, 6. Oh, I didn't say 9. Oh shoot. Okay, 9, 4, 1, 6. Enter. Nope, not that. 9, 1, 4, 6. Nope.
9, 7, 1, 4, 6.
9, 7, 1. It's only a 4-digit number, so I'm just gonna add in 6 at the end. Nope.
9, 3, 5, 6. 9, 3, 5, 6.
Not again. What about, let's repeat 9966. No.
Haley said 9236.
9236. Nope. Okay, so this is where the actual mind in Mastermind comes in. You have to remember which numbers we guessed before. So it's not 7392 14 or 8. Okay, let's try 5 for the second digit. 95, I don't know, give me a number. 2 6. Oh, heck yeah. Okay, so second digit is 5, first digit 9. We just need the third digit. And we've tried 2 3 6 5 1 4. So we can try 7 8 and 9.
I think it's 8.
8. Okay, let's try that. Not, what is it? 9 5 8 6. Nice. You took only 12 tries. I remember last week we took 14. So we got better, I guess.
Slowly we'll go down by 2.
Oh yes, definitely. All right. So that was a representation of what we will be coding in the coming weeks. And it's all done in Python.
And our goal, guys, is to go along. We can add some cooler features like the user only has, say, like 10 tries. Otherwise, they just lose. Sort of add more of that competitive feature. But that's enough for that end. So let's talk about how we're going to start off today. That being, firstly, let's get some terms out of the way. A recap. We already started to review some terms in our algorithmic programming course on Monday. Talked about conditionals, for loops, all those good terms. They can be found on our YouTube channel as always. We checked out already our finished version of the game. And then we're going to start opening up our Replit and then start taking some notes, learning about how we can comment code and sort of document as well, and start creating the functions. And if you're interested in learning about what a function is, well, you came to the right place.
Yep. So first term, functions. What are they used for? They hold our code. And what can I think of them like? They're like assignment notebook responsible for holding our tasks. So suppose I have to do like 10 tasks and I just write them down. Instead of writing them down on my paper or a list, I can just put those 10 tasks in like a Google Doc in a computer or assignment notebook, and then just tell myself, go check that assignment notebook. That notebook has those 10 tasks. So I believe if you go on to the next, yes, there we go. So what we have over here is Python code, definitely. It says def function 1, parentheses, colon. So that's the syntax for creating a function in Python. And what that function does is it prints I'm learning Python function. And that is just declaring or defining a function. If you just write, here, I'm gonna annotate that. If you just write or type this part of the code, nothing's gonna output in here. So what is actually making this function output is actually calling this function. Yeah, exactly. So calling a function will make it run. And basically, just as I'm telling myself to go look into that assignment notebook to look at all of my tasks, that's when I can look at all of my tasks. I can't just look at them if I just have my assignment notebook and see it in front of me. I have to tell myself to open it up and look at those tasks. Same thing in here in Python. I'm just calling that function func1 parentheses. That's how you call it. That's the syntax in Python. And I'm telling myself, go wherever in the code I'm defining this function, def. That's where def comes from. Short for defining, I believe. And then it just runs whatever is inside that function, and that's how you get that function output.
Exactly.
Also, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask them, because this is a really core topic in Python. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yep, and definitely, I know we have some people here from last year as well. We sort of didn't pay as much attention. We sort of just wrote code and it ran. It did what we wanted to do. But a core thing which we want to highlight as we go along in the weeks is that we want to make our code organized. And functions help us a bunch in being able to organize their tasks. Just like in an assignment notebook, I can flip it open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I can write down my assignments for each given day, for each class too. Well, similarly with a function, I can designate a function has to have a certain purpose. So each function we create as we start writing more code, you'll notice that we're going to write down what the purpose of that function is. This way, we talked about this idea of debugging. We can go back and check if is this function doing what we wanted to do. So making ourselves better programmers. But with all of that out of the way, how about we open up our coding website and get this project started?
And the coding website is the same as always, REPL.it.
Yep. And for the new people as well, I will drop a link in the chat. You can sign in with your Google account, as I believe. You can use the same one you use for your Google account.
Yep.
Classroom.
And for this, I'm just going to start sharing the screen. That will. All right. I have just opened a new Replit, called it Mastermind. And today, basically, what we're going to do is we're going to make notes. You know how we used the whiteboard before? This time, we're going to take notes and kind of plan out what we're going to do and how to actually tackle creating this great game that we just played minutes ago. And that does not require code just yet. Today will be all documentation. And while you guys are opening Replit, I'm just going to describe what documentation is. Well, documentation is basically you describe the code you have. For example, if I say print and hello world, I'm going to say that suppose I didn't know what this line of code means. And right now, all of us do know what this line of code means. It just means that I'm going to print hello world. We can just run it really quick. And it just prints hello world. And what documentation is, if you do Shift-3 and print out or type out the # hashtag, yeah. And then you can just type the following code prints out hello world. And basically, this is the English of the Python language that in case I don't understand, someone else that I'm collaborating with doesn't understand, they can just look at this documentation and confirm what this line of code does. And right now, this is a very simple line of code, but when we're working with for loops, while loops, which we will be working on in Mastermind, we will know exactly what each line of code means without having to, look through each word, each syntax, and then kind of decipher it into the English language that we know. And today we are going to make steps. So I'm going to make that hashtag or #, and then say step 1. Do it again. Just gonna copy it over. And we're gonna make steps for ourselves to see how we're going to tackle this game of Mastermind. And are we all on Replit? Whoever wanted to be on Replit?
Yeah, Rishi, you're asking about how do we get onto the REPL? You just have to create an account, and then you can follow along with, as Labi and I have talked about this. The link to the finished copy of every week will be posted on our Google Classroom. But we really want you guys to sort of type it out with your own hands as well to get to know this.
Yeah, so this is a type of project where it's not where all of us will collaborate on one. The one on the screen is what you guys will follow so that all of us will have our own projects at the end, and that would be really cool. All right, so let's start with Mastermind. So how does the game of Mastermind start? Well, the first step is either in the tangible, like the actual game of Mastermind, one person chooses 4 colors, or in the computer game that we played, the computer chooses 4 numbers. And those 4 numbers are stored away and compared to every time we guess. So step number 1 is to create a 4-digit number that will be the answer to the guesses. And that's step 1. And we are going to use a Python library called random. I'm just gonna also document that. Actually, I'll just import that for now so we know. We have to import a library or module every time we use it. So I'm gonna import random, and that's how you do it.
Rishi asked us about, we're going to use a rand range function. Our right idea, Rishi, we're going to use a similar function, something like math.random, in order to help us generate a random number between a range. So you got the right idea.
Actually, I believe we will do a random.rand range, and then we're going to go from 1,000 to 10,000. So I'll just write that code down really quick, just print it to show you guys what that does. So if I say random.rand range, and then from 1,000 to 10,000. All right, and I printed that. If we do run that, we get a 4-digit number. So that was exactly right. Now, what Rayan was saying was another library in Python called math, and that library also does that. So like there are like a lot of ways to get a random number, but this is one of them. Great job. So I'm just gonna comment this out. And the way to comment something out is do command and then the slash in Macs or control slash in Windows. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, well, step 2, we have to, the way the game works is you can either get it right in the first try, which is really good, or you'll have to keep checking. And to get it right in the first try, we just have to check if the string, I'm just gonna comment this out. If the string is equal to, then the random number. So this is just not even pseudocode, but just notes of what we will do. So first step, we're gonna create a random number that's going to be our number. Step 2, we're gonna check if the first input that the user guesses is exactly equal to. And if it is, then we can just return it. If it is, we can return, you guessed it right. And that's step 2. All right, step 3. Now this is the biggest step in Mastermind. It's the loop that goes through. I'm gonna stop sharing and then, okay. Let's see. So when we were playing this Mastermind game, you see, every time we guessed the number incorrectly, it gave us the same output. Enter your next choice of numbers, not quite the number. Enter your next choice of numbers, not quite the number. So what this is a loop. Now we looked through, we looked through for loops before last week, and those are just going through an array or something a number of times. But if we want to do something until we guess the number, we are going to use a while loop. And why are we going to use a while loop? Well, we will use it to basically prompt the user to keep guessing the right number until they get it right. All right, so there's the while loop, but what happens inside that while loop? Well, everything happens inside that while loop, because once we are out of this while loop, then basically I'm just gonna say once we get out of the while loop, the user has won the game. So all of the goodness, the code that goes into this game, most of it is inside this while loop, and that all of that will go into step number 4. So what does happen in inside that while loop? Well, we have to, so the user inputs a guess, and we have to compare it with the number we have, the random number that we created over here. And
right before we just talk about step 4, a quick little side note, which we should be aware of, guys. The reason why we're actually using a while loop and not like a for loop we talked about on Monday. We talked about using a for loop because we knew how many times we wanted that piece of code to run. So that's the difference. There are 2 types of loops, mainly when we're talking about computer programming. There's going to be a for loop or a while loop. We use a for loop when we know beforehand how many times that loop is going to iterate or keep on going. Otherwise, we use a while loop when we want our code to keep on running, depending on whether a condition has been met. Now, in this case, like Labby said, we're going to be using a while loop because we want our code to keep on running until the user gets a right number. And look, there, Labby is a good example of showing beforehand, we want to print out the word hi, the word hi 10 times. But what if we don't? What if we wanted to keep printing out until maybe like a Boolean or something else is true?
I'm just gonna print or write that code really quick. So let's keep Boolean equals false, or actually let's just keep it to true. And then I'm gonna say while my Boolean variable is equal to true, I'm going to print, oh man, this is going to go into infinity loop. Hi, this is while loop. Okay, so now let's say I want to, let's make a counter really quick. So counter equals 0. So this is just another number, and I'm going to increase counter every time. And then I'm going to say if counter is, I don't know, what's, there are parentheses, sorry. If counter is greater than 1, let's say actually is equal to, what do you want, 6. I'm going to set that Boolean equal to false. And this is basically telling the code that, oh man, I wrote JavaScript again. No. Okay, so sorry guys, braces are always JavaScript. Python does not have any braces. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so I wrote this very short code, just kidding. It's way longer than the for loop that we did. But it's pretty short compared to others. But it will basically do the same thing. This is hi, the for loop hi, and this is the while loop hi. But in here, the while loop will keep running until like this condition is met. And I can tell this condition to go on for like 20, and that'll go on twice as much, or like 100. I don't think I should run this, but I'll run it just in, oh yeah, that was pretty quick. But yeah, so what, as Ryan was saying, this will go on only for 10 times. This while loop will go on until this condition is met. Going back to the
You can use like while loops to make like infinite loops.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Otherwise, like you can also like use a really high numbered like for loop, but that, I mean, it's gonna end. So if you want a forever loop, like forever, because there is no forever loop in Python, so you can just set it while like bool equals true, and you can set bool to false. So it'll never like finish.
in fact, if I just comment out this code, it will never finish. Yeah, that's the while loop. And I will stop before it goes on for too much. So yeah, that's basically the difference between a while loop and a for loop. going back to Mastermind, we have this one condition that will be met, and that's the only reason that our while loop will stop. And that's if the user guesses the correct number. If you remember when we played the game, it kept asking us the same question, the same question, the same question once again, until we got the correct answer. And when we did get that correct answer, it just stopped the game, telling us that we won in 12 tries. And we will use this while loop with the condition. Here, I'm just going to add the condition over here. Condition the user until user guesses correctly. Okay, so there we go. There's the while loop. I'm just going to paste this at the bottom until we want, if we want to refer to this later on. But okay, go back to step number 4. Number 1, we have to compare, well, inside that while loop, to compare the guess to the correct answer, and to print out how much of the guess the user got correct. And that will require a bunch of conditionals, if-else statements, and for loops. And that is basically it for just documenting each step. I'm just going to go over once again what we did. So first of all, we created a 4-digit number, and that will be the answer, the final answer that the user will get correct or will keep guessing for. Step number 2 is the first guess that the user makes. We will check if it's the correct answer, and the probability is very less, but we can check just in case. And then if it does match correctly, then we can just return you guessed it right. And we don't have to do all of this because they already guessed it right. And that's what I'm going to add in really quick. Okay, if they didn't guess it right, then we go on to step number 3, which is entering that while loop. And that while loop will go on until they guess it right. And what happens inside that while loop is in step number 4, where we compare the user's guess to that number and output whether they got it correct, which parts they got correct, and how far they are. And finally, step number 5, once we get out of the while loop, we can print out the user has won and how many tries it took. And that is basically it. Those are the 5 steps to creating that awesome game that we just played, Mastermind, in Python. And
exactly. So guys, that's a lot of information we covered. We absolutely expect questions. If not this week, we hope that you guys bring some questions next week as well. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be working on this project, going step by step, making our way towards the final product, which we showed at the beginning. As always, we hope that you guys had a great time today and are excited. And if you were not able to comment down everything which we were talking about, a lot of we were posting the link to our Google Classroom with the finished copy, so you can take a look, copy, paste, whatever the case might be, just to make sure you are all good. But guys, take care, and we'll catch you guys next Monday. See you guys.
bye.